Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I wanted to talk about checking the 3D, and more specifically, why checking the 3D all the time, and I'm going to explain what I mean by checking the 3D in a moment. But why checking the 3D all the time is actually not a very good idea and can actually delay your manifestations. I wanted to go through a few reasons on why this happens, and then discuss a little bit what can you do instead when you get that strong urge wanting to check the 3D, wanting to check your manifestation, wanting to check how things are going. So stay tuned. So what do we mean by checking the 3D? Checking the 3D can take many forms, especially in this day and age of cell phones and social media. A lot of the time it means checking your phone all the time to see if they texted you. Or if you've been blocked, checking over and over and over again multiple times a day to see if you're still blocked. Or perhaps you are stalking their social media, you're stalking their Instagram, you're stalking their Facebook, you're checking to see what they've posted, who they've followed, if they've posted anything that is remotely related to you, if there is a third party, you're checking to see if they're still posting pictures with a third party or if they're being tagged by the third party, things like that. But in general, it can be any form of checking the 3D to see if your manifestation is happening, to see if you're having results in your manifestation, and things like that. So it doesn't have to be just social media. Maybe you are in contact with your specific person. Maybe you're even together. Maybe you're going on dates. So when you go out on a date with your person, for example, you're checking their behavior. You're checking how they're treating you to see, okay, I visualized before the date. Are they showing up like that person? Are they showing me that behavior that I want? Things like that. And not just for a specific person. It can be for anything. If you're manifesting money, checking your bank balance all the time, for example. Or if you're manifesting a job, checking your email obsessively to see if the companies you applied to have responded, or if you have any emails about an interview or things like that. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying, but in general, it is doing your manifesting practice and then checking the 3D, especially if you do it very quickly. Let's say you visualize, let's say you did affirmations, let's say you scripted or did something else, meditated, whatever it was. And then you immediately or within a few minutes or within a few hours are back to checking the 3D to see if what you did worked or is working. And this is actually the biggest mistake most people manifesting make. This is if they've practiced their manifesting and they expect to see immediate results. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's impossible to see immediate results. It can happen and it does happen a lot. So yes, it is possible to see your manifestation very fast, even on the same day. In some cases, even instantly, within seconds or minutes or hours. It is very, very possible, but there is no way to actually know for sure in advance when things are going to change. And in general, the more resistance you have about something, the more double-minded you've been, the more of the old story you've clung on to, the longer it might take for things to actually change, because what you're doing is you're impressing your subconscious mind with a new story. And before, you had been impressing your subconscious mind with the old story and with the old circumstances. So you need a little bit of work and you need a little bit of inner effort to actually impress your subconscious mind with a new story. So for your own sake, do not assume that things are going to happen immediately. I'm not saying they cannot happen immediately. They very well might. So be open to that possibility as well, okay? But don't expect 100% that I did the visualization, so it has to happen on the same day. So now I'm gonna go check the 3D to see if it has happened. And if it hasn't happened, I'm going to get disappointed and assume that something about what I did is not working and I'm not a good manifestor and I'm going to get discouraged and all these things. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. So the main reasons why checking the 3D constantly to see if your manifestation is working can actually delay it and can actually have the opposite effect of what you want, because presumably you want it as soon as possible, like all of us. One reason is what we call here in English-speaking countries the watch spot syndrome. Essentially, when you're standing over a pot with boiling water and you are there and you're observing the water and you're waiting for it to boil, have you noticed that it never boils? And then you walk away, you go do something else, and without realizing it, it's just boiling and even overflowing. It's essentially the same effect. You are in some way, let's say, blocking the energy of that manifestation coming through, that manifestation happening, by always checking, always looking for it, always wondering where it is. You're just kind of blocking it. You are just not letting it flow in some way. Which is why a lot of the time you will hear from a lot of coaches that it's actually best to leave the 3D alone, not to be constantly checking, not to be constantly looking for your manifestation. And that is the main reason, because you are just essentially supervising it all the time. You're not trusting the process. You're not letting the energy flow to allow things to work and unfold. And if they are working and if they are unfolding, the energy you put into it is, I don't trust it to unfold. So on the one hand, I visualize or affirm or imagine or script that I have my manifestation, I have my desire, and then the next moment I'm basically back to checking my phone, checking my email, checking whatever I'm checking, essentially giving my subconscious the opposite message that, oh, I know it's not here, I'm noticing it's not here, I'm noticing the lack. So you see how you're sending a contradicting message to your subconscious, and this is why it can actually delay your manifestation further by doing that a lot. So if you actually care for your manifestation to come as fast as possible, which presumably you do, you need to start developing the discipline to actually not be checking the 3D all the time. Check it as infrequently as possible if you can, and actually learn to trust the process. Trust your inner process, trust everything that you do within. When you go within and you imagine and you feel like you have your manifestation in that point, at that moment, that is real. You are creating that new reality for real. You are channeling that new reality for real. You are creating it in that moment. So trust that. Trust that just by you practicing that, you're actually bringing it forth to your 3D. So then you leave the 3D alone. You go about your life. You assume that, yes, what I did was enough. What I did was working. I know it is working. I know everything is working out for me in perfect ways. And you go live your life and you expect that your manifestation will pan out. Your manifestation will materialize. Trust that, expect that, know that, have that inner confidence, that inner knowing, but go about your life. Do other things. Distract your mind. Don't go back to the 3D every single time trying to see if what you did is working. That is actually, like I said, sending your subconscious a message of mistrust. I don't trust you. I don't trust that the process is going to work. I'm super impatient. I really, really want it to work out right now because I can't take the waiting, because I'm actually desperate for it. These are all the messages you're giving your subconscious. And so essentially you're confusing your subconscious between your manifesting practice, where you went into imagination and created that feeling of having the desire already, and then returning to the 3D and actually checking and actually going into the feeling of lack again. And where is it? I'm wondering, is it working? Is it going to happen? What's happening? And that kind of feeling. So you're sending all these mixed signals to your subconscious, which is what you want to avoid. Remember, we always say you want to be as single-minded as possible about your manifestation and as consistent as possible in your energy, and trusting that it is yours, trusting that it is happening. You created it within, you imagined it within, you do that consistently, you do that daily, it has to happen. So trust that. Now, personally, I'm not one of those radical coaches who are going to tell you, never check the 3D, never wonder where it is, never this, never that. I'm not that person. I know we're human. I've said that before. It's okay if you check from time to time. However, I want you to make sure whenever you're checking that you are in a good state, that you are in a state of, no matter what I see in the 3D, I know it's still happening. Even if I see something that I don't like, I know it's still happening. Or if I don't see any movement, if I check and nothing has changed, It's okay. It could very well change the next minute, the next hour, the next day. And actually, one of the ways to know that you're in a very good state mentally and emotionally, that you're in the right state or the state of living in the end, is when you actually lose that urge to check the 3D all the time or check it very frequently. Because that is the living in the end. That is where you trust that your manifestation, what you did in your imagination, is going to manifest. It's going to happen in the 3D. And so you don't feel the need to go back to the 3D to check. So it's okay to check from time to time. It's okay to wonder where it is from time to time. Don't beat yourself up if you do. From time to time, it's okay. Especially if you're in a good state, especially if you're in a confident state, you can check. As long as it's periodically, as long as it's not all the time or every day or anything like that. But if you find yourself in a state of constantly needing to check the 3D for what is happening, where is it coming, is it working, and all these things, number one, that tells you that you're still in a state where you haven't shifted yet to feeling like your desire is yours, at least not in that moment. And number two, I would prefer that you actually go distract yourself and do something else, because you need to develop the discipline to actually stop checking all the time. You need to break that habit, because it is a habit, it is an addiction of the mind. So break that habit, start breaking that habit by distracting yourself, do something else. Go watch a movie, call a friend, go out for a walk, go do some dishes even. Go do laundry, it doesn't matter, go to the gym. Read a book, or I don't know, go lie down, close your eyes and start breathing. Do whatever you need to do and actually help that urge to pass, help that urge go away. And you might need to do that a few times, but you will find that because it's a habit, the more you do it, the more you actually give yourself a signal that, no, I'm not going to give in to this urge. Not right now, not today. I'm going to go do something else, because I know that I'm trusting that my manifestation is happening. So I'm not going to give in to that urge. Every time you repeat that process, it's going to feel easier and easier and easier to break the habit. And before you know it, it won't be a habit anymore. You won't have that constant need anymore. You won't have that constant urge anymore. It's all a matter of training your brain. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.